Dr. Diandra here from buildingspeed.org, and today we're going to be looking into the question of why Joey Logano got sent to the back of the field and required to make a pass-through penalty just because of a pair of gloves. All drivers in NASCAR are required to wear gloves. Those gloves have to meet a certain standard, and that standard is specified by the SFI. Joey Logano's gloves apparently did not meet SFI standards. As information dripped out, we found out that the gloves had been modified. And in fact, there were pictures that showed the glove, and there was something like webbing in between the thumb and the first finger. Ever since Atlanta was revamped in 2022, it's been what's known as a drag limited track. That is, we run the super speedway package, and the drag of the car cannot be totally overcome by the engine horsepower available to the driver. And that's why you see pack racing. At tracks such as Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega, the amount of drag on the car is incredibly important. Teams will actually sacrifice downforce in order to decrease the drag. Ideally, what you would want is an entirely closed-up car. You'll notice those window nets are pretty tightly woven. That's on purpose. They want to make sure that air isn't coming into the car. But if you look carefully on the driver's side of the car, you will see that there is an area that has neither a panel nor a net. And that area is the area that drivers try to block with their hands. Now, I do not have access to fancy animated cars and things like that. I do, however, have access to a leaf blower and a cardboard box. So let me try to show you why blocking that airflow is so important. So let's look at first at the case in which we didn't have that opening. And you can see that the ribbons, which are to show you which way the air is flowing, the ribbons are going mostly straight as they go along. Now we're going to go ahead and open up that flap to mimic the way it actually is in the car. The effect was not quite as dramatic as I was hoping for, but you should be able to see that the ribbons are now actually trying to go into the inside of the car. And that's exactly what the drivers don't want. So you can see the advantage of having a webbed glove. Here's a regular glove with just the hand and the thumb open. And now when I change it over to the other glove where you've got something in between the thumb and the forefinger, you can see that you're going to block more of the window and therefore gain speed. Now hopefully you are saying to yourself, that has got to be a really tiny effect. And it is. The second highest qualifying driver and the fifth highest qualifying driver were separated by 45 1/100ths of a second. And in fact, there was only a 1/10 of a second between the second qualifying driver, Logano, and the 28th qualifying driver. So even that small change could be a big difference in performance. You may want to try to make an argument that if you made the webbing in the gloves with fire-resistant Nomex and the gloves were still fire-resistant, what's wrong with that? Well, the problem is that once you modify a piece of equipment that's been certified by SFI, the SFI certification is no longer valid. So is that it? Probably not. NASCAR does not take very kindly to people making modifications to anything involving safety, be it the car or the driver equipment. So I would expect there to be additional penalties on Tuesday. And if they're big, well, at least now you know why. I'm Dr. Diandra. Thanks for listening.